played some amazing Riven that actually managed to clinch them a victory over the Chiefs. So look back down memory lane and maybe pick up a VOD there, but the bans are coming through thick and fast, ladies and gentlemen. Aurelia and Kalista are going to be taken away from Legacy. After seeing that last game, of course, they were great late game insurance. And Lissandra Morgana going to hit the bench here as well on the side of Legacy, and we'll see what Direwolves decide to take off. And it's going to be Jarvan, banned by the Direwolves. Where are we? What's going on?
Well, they want to first pick Rek'Sai, you'd have to say, given they've banned the Jarvan. We can only go on past trends and say these are the two champions they play the most. They've both been banned.
Not this time. Not this time.
Uncharted waters, ladies and gentlemen.
Does Soul Strikes play any other champions? We're not entirely sure, but there's a certain kitty cat that is now available.
That's a big jump from the control tanky
it's only
frontline
jump if you get hunted.
It's a big jump to go from the skirmish junglers, the Jarvans and the Rek'Sais of the world, the global pressure, the early ganks to Nidalee. It's a different playstyle. It's a much more carrier-orientated playstyle. You can't fit Sightstone into a Nidalee build. I'm sure Clearlove will try it one day in the OPL, but it's not a standard build path, so it's definitely going to be something different. What isn't different? The OPL's favorite super tank, in fact both of them, but the OPL's favorite, locked in first, the Sion, going to be Forever Together's debut in the top.
Yeah, we're going to have the big wet noodle fight there on the top side of the map. It is going to be so boring to watch these two champions go at it because neither of them will ever have kill pressure against each other. Maybe level 2,
Look, you
perhaps.
say boring, and look, low kill pressure, so maybe don't train the camera top, but it's amusing, Atlas.
It is most definitely
being
amusing.
Thrown, large axes being lifted and sidestepped out of. It's 5.5, so the Roar of the Slayer's been nerfed.
Yep.
A lot of the ranged wave clear. People theorize maybe maxing the Q as an option.
Ooh.
So people
Decimating Smash.
The Decimating Smash and not the Roar of the Slayer. Yes, we've done our
We've
Scion
learned
homework.
it. Oh,
There's
yeah.
been a lot of Scion, so we've had to learn it.
We've
but the
been in-
Hecarim is coming through, and the Direwolves, it's two Hecarim picks, but Perfection's not going to be running it this time.
Yeah, Hecarim not going to get banned away because, of course, Perfection's not there, and Soul Strike's going to be clippity-clopping through the jungle.
I'm not going to jump to that. There is the potential
Of
that it
Scion
could be a
support.
Scion jungle.
All right, Scion jungle. That's what I meant
There's
too.
a Thresh locked in there, mate.
Yeah, no, but that Thresh could have been mid lane. We've had this discussion many
I
times
think
before.
you said
Papa
80
Smithy.
carry Thresh.
Oh, yeah, I might have actually said top lane Thresh. I'm not entirely
Don't mix
sure.
your
Hey, no, but that could be a
scattered
mid lane
metaphors.
Scion. If you've been paying attention, Papa Smithy, to the LCK, that banner of Command Scion in the mid lane wins games.
So,
ladies and gentlemen.
so are we going to tell the audience that it's triple flex picks coming through from the Direwolves?
Yeah, absolutely. 80 carry Hecarim right up in here. But as we've been discussing this, Legacy have locked away the Sivir Annie bottom lane. So a lot of engaged potential on the hunt, plus Annie moving stupidly quickly with the Tibbers at the ready. And Ejim sort of struggled a little bit throughout that game, was very, very squishy on the Annie, often just sort of died. But we'll see whether he's going to be able to be a threat now. And Choo Choo's going to leave his pick till last. King now does have his ability to pick up any champion. We'll
It's
see what he
mostly
goes
been
with.
on the hyper carries. We've seen an explosion of Lucian play in recent competitive play. Gives you a very strong mid game, and of course can transition great to late. Speaking of explosion, we've seen some Karthus, specifically Zhao Wei Zhao, playing for Team Impact, and first appearance of Karthus in the OPL.
Yeah, Sharp looking to pick that one up in the mid lane. Could be in the jungle. We were discussing flex picks. And Choo Choo's, his Zed wasn't banned, and he'll be more than happy to pick that one away. And that's a brilliant pick into Karthus.
You say that, but it's not an ideal laning matchup. You're
Isn't
against
it?
a champion that naturally will pick up Exhaust, will pick up early health through a Catalyst. The kill pressure on a Karthus, it's there at level 6, but as the lane matchup goes, okay, Karthus can't put a lot of pressure on, but he can counter push, he can prune the wave, try and keep Zed honest, and has those tools in a team fight especially. The second Exhaust can be run. It looks like at the moment Shuffle will take Ignite for laning.
That's the Chopper style, isn't it?
But there's a lot of answers to Zed as well. Sion is a big answer. Hecarim can do good things, and at least at the moment, we spoke about it, and it looks like it's going to be a Sion jungle.
Scion jungle is where it's going to be. Forever Together trying to do his best Perfections impression there on the top side of the map. So it's going to be the horse versus the tree up there, and we'll see who's going to win.
I like how we've said Perfection so many times, and you're still calling him Perfection.
I don't know why I automatically put an S on the end. It's honestly a problem that I have, and it's not because I don't know that it's Perfection. I just say Perfections because then I'm an absolute moron. But, ladies and gentlemen, how are you watching the OPL? Make sure you let us know on Twitter, and come through and just say, if you're underwater, please, goodness me, just finally someone tell me, include my Twitter thingy in there, because I just want it to happen one more time so that I can actually
It's going to be a good week. I think the nautical themes are going to come through this week just for you.
One can only hope. One can only hope. Mostly for you, Papa Smithy, because you have to put up with me constantly ranting about underwater themes. But yeah, let us know on Twitter. Use that hashtag #IamOPL and just let us know how you're watching the OPL, whether it's chilling out at home, whether it's up a mountain.
And we were able to share some great ones last time. So just want to see everything excellent come through.
Yeah, well. But, ladies and gentlemen, Direwolves taking on Legacy. This is a massive second and third match. Legacy barely solidifying their spot there as well. But they're not safe in this third position, and they really need to start getting wins on the board. And if they can try and challenge, if they can continue to pick up victories and maybe Direwolves going to falter just a little bit, they have an opportunity to make it to that second point. And then they will have the ability to pick sides in the next. The seed advantage is actually massive because our semifinals best of fives. And if you have the higher seed, you get to choose the side on 3 out of the 5 games as opposed to just 2. So it's a big deal.
And it can be really interesting in terms of format. You can see the situations where one team's on the red side every game if that's what they so choose. Legacy, they have to take their future into their own hands. They're the ones that have to win to be able to pick up that second spot. They're the ones that are trailing the Direwolves. Direwolves have only lost so far in their 2 matches against the Chiefs. They have an undefeated record otherwise. Beat Legacy in the earlier matchup between these 2 teams. Direwolves, they're running a sub. They've got some innovative new strategies coming through. This is definitely not the Direwolves team that we've seen play previously. They're doing something different. There's still a lot of potential in the lineup. But you'd have to think, if you're going to beat the Direwolves Legacy, it's going to be today.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Sion does in the jungle here as well. Because do you just suicide multiple times?
It's not quite the same
as
when you're trying to get a fast level 2. You've got Smite now, so it makes it a little bit easier to kill that pesky raptor or the big wolf that comes in the jungle.
No, but you just get so much more clear time when you're smacking it so fast. Is the upgraded
Look, if he had
version.
a teleport and could maybe put his trinket ward
upgraded,
at a
the
camp.
dead version is what I meant. Yep.
The big thing about Sion jungle, you max Q. You'd be surprised with the mana tweaks, especially now. A lot more mana cost on the Roar of the Slayer, a lot lower on the Decimating Smash. The base damage that ability is very high, and the jungle camps, they don't move away from it like other people do. You can just power farm, and this is kind of one of these champions that's kind of been talked about in hushed tones. People are saying that Sion jungle on patch 5.5 is competitive ready, so I'm so excited to see Soul Strikes, who's been exclusively Rek'Sai and Jarvan, pull out something totally different.
Yeah, and I find it absolutely hilarious that we have the least flexible jungler versus the most flexible. Now Vi being picked up from Carbon. That is his 8th unique pick here in the OPL thus far. He has played. Let me go through it here for you, Papa Smithy. It is Rek'Sai, Jarvan, Lee Sin, Elise, Udyr, Sejuani, and Rengar.
And look, some of those picks were better than others. The Udyr in particular. Wasn't a fan, Carbon, I'm sorry.
No, not so much.
The Vi. It's an interesting one here, just because who are you Vi-holding? Are you Vi-holding Karthus and then just stepping into his AoE? Even if Karthus dies, of course, still putting out massive damage in the Death Defied.
They've got a lot of ability to do damage after death.
They do, between the Sion and the Karthus, as you mentioned. And diving past a Karthus is very difficult to do. Again, the AoE is massive from Karthus. You have to respect this pick. So I don't necessarily see if the double dive, Vi, Zed, and to some degree Maokai are going to be diving into the backline, having to deal with consistent AoE damage. If Karthus isn't held down, I feel like a dive team against Karthus, it's happy days for the Karthus, and the first Karthus in the OPL might be a victory for the Direwolves.
Yeah, and we'll see whether Soul Strikes can get enough stacks on that passive as well. A little bit more difficult to kill multiple minions in the jungle. But ladies and gentlemen, we're in for our final matchup of the day here. Direwolves taking on Legacy, who managed to clinch that victory against Sudden Fear, and we'll see whether they can continue it forward here now, because I think a Legacy probably have to get ahead early with this particular team comp, because Zed can't really see how much he's going to be doing towards the later stages of the game.
And look, in terms of mid-game power spikes, you definitely give it to Maokai over Hecarim. Hecarim wants to pick up Trinity Force, then tanky, so there's that early potion when it's a couple of Doran's Rings and a Catalyst and maybe a bit of cost-effective tank stacks where Maokai will always out-duel a Hecarim. Zed especially has a lower item threshold than Karthus. Karthus just gets stronger and stronger until the 6-item phase. So he's going to definitely be erring towards the late game. In the bottom lane, Sivir Annie, very aggressive, very strong Sivir lane. Lucian Thresh, the Lifesteal lane, is no slouch whatsoever either, but just with more scaling options. Legacy, it's on them to take control of the first 20 minutes. They didn't manage to do it against Sudden Fear, let's remember. The timer, it's on them again, and it's going to be a difficult game against stiff opposition.
Oh, yeah. King actually already getting aggressed on here from Legacy. They have found him out.
Hasn't had to skill the Relentless Pursuit, so will be able to enter lane with the Q if he so desires. That's quite big that he wasn't actually forced to take a suboptimal skill. If you're forced to take the Relentless Pursuit, you just can't push the wave in. You open up the enemy wave lane to pick up an earlier level 2, and you can potentially struggle if you can't get that level 2 at the time you need it.
And we'll see how this mid lane goes here, of course, because Choo Choo's probably has a little bit more pressure options in the earlier stages. Karthus with not a lot of sort of kill pressure early. Is that correct? Because, of course, it's been a while, honestly, since I've seen a Karthus, and I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, Karthus is always, how good is the Karthus player? Is he hitting all of his Skittles? Is he not?
Yeah.
That's the big consideration. On a gank, if you are able to exhaust, apply the Wall of Pain, you can potentially pick up an early kill. But in terms of lane pressure, he has to balance wave pushing, wave pruning with harassment. So if he ever falls low in mana, he just contributes nothing. He has a very poor auto attack animation, very hard to last hit outside of the Q. So again, it's a difficult lane, but Karthus has a lot of skill matchups. I feel like this is one that's slightly in his advantage just because the kill pressure for Choo Choo's, barring an early level 6 ping, isn't that high. But I'm ready for Choo Choo to show something differently. This is one of his trademark champions, the Zed.
Yeah, and he now has an opportunity to overcome a difficult experience potentially in this game, but we'll see whether he can have the dominating performance that he otherwise has. Oh, Carbon very, very low, but taking away this Rift Scuttler, not going to be found by Soul Strikes, who probably doesn't have a whole lot of pressure onto Carbon, who can just Vault Breaker his way away from the Scion. Now Soul Strike's going to be doing this red buff here as well. Blue not started just yet by Carbon. He's going to head back to base, maybe pick up his jungle item, and head back and start his next buff. Minkwell able to farm here effectively against Forever Together.
Of course, doesn't have flash in the matchups. It is gankable. Carbon, though, doesn't put out that much jungle pressure pre-level 6. If he goes back, picks up a couple of long swords in lieu of perhaps the jungle item, can do a decent damage gank with the Vault Breaker. And, of course, the setup CC is there with the Twisted Advance. But probably going to be just fine. It's huge trades in bottom.
Yeah, Tallywhack actually forced to use the flash here as well as Chuffer was looking for the death sentence. He took so much damage from the King Chuffer combo. Very, very frightening. Carbon taking down this blue buff now that he has actually went back and picked up boots, so not even completing that jungle item after his first round.
That tells you anything. It's that there's going to be that early pressure. Boots don't help you clear the jungle unless you perhaps Hecker him and have a bit of AD scaling. So that is a surprisingly aggressive choice. I thought maybe the longswords, because at least that gives you some combat stats to DPS down in a gank and in the jungle. But Boots, that's all about positioning.
Yeah, he really wants to get around there. Nice spell shield from Tallywhacker. He's going to stop that death sentence from landing, but Chuffer just able to put on as much pressure as he wants. King landing some decent Qs here as well, the Piercing Light.
A surprising item that I want to see Carbon pick up is the Sightstone and Vi. Definitely doesn't fit Vi as well as some other champions like Nunu. But the big thing about Karthus is that...
Oh my goodness, Tallywhacker, the thread, the needle there. Nice use of the spell shield. There's the flash forward, the heal. Not going to be enough. First blood to Chuffer with the ignite. And Ardent Blaze not going to quite take down Aegian, but Direwolves continuing the pressure on this bottom side. And we've credited this bottom lane so many times, and it's looking like they're doing it again.
And it was all Chuffer. The first engage blew the flash, hit a second max range death sentence. Aptly named, as Direwolves now have a huge advantage in the bottom lane. They're already winning in CS. They're going to control this wave appropriately. And if they can create pressure, but that could be big.
Yeah, there's a Twisted Advance in the top lane, though. Together Forever actually taking a lot of damage from Minkwell and Carbon as there's the denting blows, the ignite down onto Carbon just to stop the dive. But the horse is going to be safe.
Yeah, Carbon needed level 4, you'd have to think. They were close in terms of damage, but dissuaded Carbon with his low base stats from going any more aggressive with the ignite. Good disengage. I actually credit Minkwell. It's very smart, throwing the sapling into the only retreat path available for Hecarim for CC, but they couldn't quite take down the horse.
Yep, Sharp is going to head back now. We'll see whether he picks up the tier, whether he wants to go for an early Rod of Ages here as well is an option. As Chuffer, he's coming around for a gank onto Choo Choo's. He's ganked from all sides. There's the death mark onto Sharp, looking to try and find something. Actually flashing out. There's the Living Shadow, and he's okay.
He's okay. He actually managed to navigate. Good play for him. Soul Strikes, just having a look. He is maxing the Q first, the Decimating Smash. Watch him take down these jungle camps if we can, cameraman. He takes them fast.
Oh, yeah. Able to take down those popcorn chickens very quickly, as there is the Soul Furnace as well, taking away this one. So he's, yeah.
The small ones die instantly is maybe the big thing to notice.
Yeah, that's the main one.
And then he waits for Smite for the big one.
Didn't quite find it there as Smite. Just about to be back off cooldown here for Soul Strikes. As Legacy now playing with a lot of respect here on this bottom side. Chuffer moving very quickly. Ooh, Death Sentence going through the stun, but Chuffer takes a lot of damage follow-up as that boomerang comes down from Tallywhacker. Chuffer not going to be too worried about it. Does have a few biscuits there, and King, he's at full health. He's not worried at all. Pickaxe longsword in comparison to Double Doran's Blade, going to mean that King definitely powered up in this lane. So
I'm really looking forward to seeing the Direwolves comp in effect in fights. You might wonder why. What's special about this comp? Sion, Hecarim, we've seen all these champions recently. The Karthus also is interesting, but the big thing about Sion from the jungle, he's maxing the Q. So you might think, okay, but what's that going to do in a team fight? Anyone can sidestep it, and you'd be right completely. But he channels that Q. There is an area you cannot afford to go into. You'll be knocked up. You take a very large amount of base damage. I believe about 520 damage without any sort of AD items from that ability. So you can't stand there. You also have to factor in death sentences coming through from Chuffer, all the potential of the Terrify coming through from the onslaught of shadows from Hecarim. And then Karthus has huge space control with the wall. There's so many space control abilities. There's just so few safe places for Legacy to stand in a team fight. And I'm just excited to see all these different space control abilities used in a team fight and just justify the jungle Sion. Because as you mentioned, you know, pre-6, unless you hit that ultimate, you don't really provide a lot of setup CC in a game.
Yeah, well, it's true. And Legacy, they're looking to try and take down this dragon very, very early on. Chuffer going to get a ward over here at the same time. Shurikens from Choo Choo's trying to do some work as Death Sentence probably going to try it. Wow, that was so incredibly close. But the smite is true from Carbon.
The smite is true. You make it sound very regal and strong.
Yeah, I was doing the best I could. Did it work?
It did, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, smart for Legacy to pick up the dragon because although Karthus, as we mentioned, does fine in this matchup, Choo Choo's is always going to be the one who's going to be the first to push in the wave. He's going to be the first one to react if there's any action happening in the Direwolves' red side jungle. So because they already have an implied control advantage over the bottom side, and Karthus never really wants to be rotating against a Zed. He just wants to stay in lane and farm, as we see actually the death mark used in mid.
Yeah, actually, Sharp, he's going to die.
So that happened.
Yeah, no problem. Bilgewater Cutlass does have the Ignite there available, and Choo Choo's picks up the kill.
And it happened exactly as you'd expect. He pressed ult, and the card's done.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Unstoppable Onslaught here to the top side of the map, looking for Minkuel. Does he land the knockup? No, he doesn't. Not this time, as Minkuel actually forced to turn around here as well. Not able to close the distance. Dodges away the damage, I believe so. As Carbon, he comes in. Minkuel flashing out the Ignites there, though. The ult from Karthus going to be enough. And that nets him the kill onto Minkuel, but not before Forever Together does fall down. Ejim has now found Soul Strikes. Choo Choo's here at the same time, forced to use that flash. Are they going to go for the dive as Choo Choo's doesn't get knocked up, but he's going to die to the turret. Soul Strikes picks up an easy kill. A second one! Double kill for Soul Strikes, and that dive was a bit silly, boys.
Legacy committed all 4 members of their team. Only Tallywhacker was down the bottom. 4 members, and it went horribly wrong. That's why we saw the overcommit. Now Tallywhacker's being completely zoned off his bottom turret. The roam from Ejim, he has the early boots of mobility, not even a Sightstone yet. The roam definitely not paying off. Legacy looking far too aggressively for the dive. And Sion, even though he's from the jungle, still pretty tanky, Atlas.
Oh, yeah, and if we have a look at the bottom side of the map, Papa Smithy, that is 92 CS to 44.
Well, just consider this. Karthus didn't want to be rotating. Karthus can't rotate stuff. All he can do is throw out the ultimate, which was successful in this case. So Karthus wasn't going to be encroaching. I mean, the completed bottom lane was bot. They had Ejim roaming up. You can see why Legacy took it as go time, but the results, the proof in the pudding wasn't there. They actually lost more members in that trade, and the CS advantage goes to Direwolves because they stayed in lane.
Yeah, precisely. Minkuel actually now heading down to this bottom side. They're trying to get some sort of lane swap happening to get some farm onto this Sivir if they can. Minkuel, of course, has been known to be fantastic in these lane swaps, but doesn't quite have the wave clear. The box coming down here as well. Minkuel, you're dead. And Choffa picks up that kill, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Direwolves just with so much power down
that
here.
plan to navigate Sion away went very sideways very quickly. King, this is a guy who burst onto the OPL with massive carry performance in the first couple of weeks. It's been a bit hot or cold recently, but you give him a start and he can get real strong. Doesn't have necessarily the kill involvement, but the CS you already mentioned, 105 to 55.
Yeah, he is rolling now. We do have a Brutalizer completed from Choo Choo's. Does have that Deathmark completed as well as Soul Strike's actually going to find Carbon here. There's the fully channeled Q. Carbon in so much trouble.
He's going to die.
Yeah, he is going to die. Is not going to give the assist over to Sharp, but Soul Furnace going to be enough. And
what happened? Smash does a lot of base damage. Nobody ever maxes it, so they don't necessarily see this in the top lane, but it's already doing 640 damage with no AD.
That is absolutely insane. He has the Cinderhole completed as well as Carbon hasn't completed his jungle item. There's the ult to come through onto Ejim. The Terrified, beautiful death sentence from Chopper. Just picks out the little Annie. And Tallywacker does blow the ultimate, but he's going to have to get out.
But speaking of overextending in the bottom lane, you can see flashing health buttons because Team's dead.
And Minky picked that one up 1v1.
That was just King overextending, had summoners up, didn't want to use them against the Maokai, but it was just too far away from his turret. The consistent damage, all the CC Minky Whales had came through. He's going to teleport.
He's teleporting behind the Direwolves here. They were going for the dive onto Tallywacker. Carbon's level 6. Forever Together, you are most definitely dead as Minky Well secures that one with the Twisted Advance. Chopper going to get ulted now as well. He wants to try and pick up the kill into Tallywacker, but doesn't quite get there. The last auto attack for Tallywacker donated over. Does he have the spell shield? No, he doesn't. And Sharp picks up the return kill.
Yeah, Sharp picks up the kill, backed away just so he couldn't be potentially stunned up by Annie, who had roam to the mid lane. Sharp's picking up kill involvements. He has to respect the Zed. He's behind in CS, but he's going to be relevant. And the Rod of Ages, it could have been finished a long time ago, so he's been sitting on the time for quite a while.
Yeah, actually, King coming up to this top lane. Minky Well just wants to tank out the turret. Does Twisted Advance as well, but he might die for this one. Soul Strike's looking for Choo Choo's, doesn't land the Decimating Smash, and King, he does take down the big tree, and Carbon is in so much trouble. Look at the damage with the BF Sword Pickaxe Brutalizer. Ejim's going to explode from the Soul Furnace. There's the Wall of Pain to come down to the Choo Choo's. He's trying to get out of here. Living Shadow was not available, actually, as he gets stunned, but he is going to make it underneath his turret, and Direwolves just putting on so much pressure. Soul Strikes, this jungle Scion, I'm a believer.
It's a new thing. It actually has a very high win rate in solo queue. 60% is the win rate for Scion jungle, and you can see why he farms camps so fast. Okay, if he doesn't hit his ultimate, doesn't necessarily have initiation CC, but if you sit in that queue, you take a large burst and a big CC duration.
Oh yeah, and Forever Together, he's going for that Trinity Force for his first item, but you can see he's 30 CS ahead in this top lane.
He's got a massive CS advantage, and that's on a Hecarim versus Maokai. Maokai, he splits farm in every lane. He can go in a 1v1, a 2v2. He's just fine in every lane. That's when he smash hits.
Oh, there's a Death Sentence here as well as Ejim. Oh my goodness, the horse into the backside, but Minky Well picks up the first kill onto Sharp. Able to do damage while he's dead though, because of course is Karthus, and Ejim most definitely going to fall down. 2 dead now already on the side of both teams, but Direwolves with the positional advantage. They are calling them to back, though, because Choo Choo's, he's very, very low, as is Tallywack. I'm not sure why they're backing, actually.
They need to spend a lot of their gold, Direwolves. They're sitting on massive gold values. For the together, it's turning around on Choo Choo's. He'll back away, but 1,600 gold, 1,300 gold, 1,100, just so much gold in the pockets. When I see big purchases come, it's going to be the Trinity Force completed Forever Together. A late Rod of Ages. You can tell it's late because in the same buy, he turned a Catalyst Blasting one into a Rod of Ages and a Needlessly Large Rod. That's a huge purchase coming through from Karthus. Doesn't have any shoes, but he hasn't been rotating to these fights anyways. He just ults.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be rotating. Doesn't need them shoes. Just at the end of the game, he's probably just going to sit in base.
Monte Cristo's worst nightmare. No rotations whatsoever.
Oh my goodness. Karthus never come back into the meta. Please, Monte Cristo might actually explode. Ooh, Soul Strike's looking for that one. Yells at a minion, but not going to find it onto Ejim. Oh, actually, there's the death mark onto Sharp here as well. Flashing forward onto this one. Doesn't quite get it with the death mark. The Unite ticking down. Choo Choo's picks up the kill. No ultimate to speak of here from Sharp. Oh, it just became available. But of course, is going to fall into the death before that was able to be used. Of course, not using the Requiem just as it came up, because that would have meant that it wouldn't have come through. Actually, there's the ultimate from Soul Strikes. Not going to find it here as Forever Together is going to come down. Decimating Smash flashed out of by Carbon. Death Sentence, though, not going to be reacted to. And Forever Together picks up the kill.
Yeah, don't mistake it. The damage coming through after Death Sentence is huge. Trinity Force is completed on Hecarim. We see the Brutalizer and the parts of Infinia. This is the most power you can have on Lucian early because, of course, has massive AD scaling. You don't have to get the 20% crits if you're just getting the extra cooldown reduction and armor penetration from the Brutalizer. They pick up the Dragon and Direwolves. They have fight insurance with the Karthus, and they're winning fights regardless.
Yeah, and Minkuel actually going for this Rod of Ages here as well, so not going for sort of that mid-game power spike Maokai build with the Righteous Glory, going for more of a wave clear option here.
But why would you opt into late game against Karthus Hecarim?
I know.
That's the big question. They don't even have a huge advantage in the AD carry ranks. Okay, the On the Hunt will be very useful for Minkuel and Carbon to consistently close the distance. Choo-Choo's as well. But they're going to be looking for a split push against a Hecarim. Right now, that's okay. Of course, not a big burst of armor. But once the first armor items come through, they can even have Soul Strikes try and split push. Because, of course, can get very quick to other lanes with the ultimate. But they've got two options in terms of very tanky people. And team fights with a Zed to navigate an exhaust coming through from Karthus, it's not ideal for Legacy.
Yeah, it's going to be frightening here as Choo-Choo's going to be taking down the Rift Scuttler. Chuffer looking to get something going on. He's very fast on this Thresh with the mobility boots. There's King coming around as well just to assist his support, but not going to find too much.
Outstanding this game. Those death sentences have been completely catching out Legacy at max range multiple times, justifying the Thresh pickup. And he might be starting to draw Thresh bans if he can be so strong. It's usually the Annie, remember. The Annie's been taken away from him, but his Thresh just as impressive.
Yeah, Soul Strike's now looking to try and get some vision down. Decimating Smash, going to not allow that ward to be cleared as Wall of Pain comes through from Sharp as well. More of a deterrent than anything else as Forever Together does turn up to this one. Tallywacker just trying to freeze out this bottom side, although a little bit unsuccessfully here as the wave is going to start pushing out.
We just have to take in, remember, Soul Strikes had never played a jungler other than Jarvan or Rek'Sai before this game. And it's 4-0-4 on Jungle Scion. We haven't seen Jungle Scion or another champion, and he's already doing, we're going to have to start re-ranking junglers in the OPL, because Soul Strikes, he's got an argument up there with the likes of Spooks.
Oh, yeah, and this is the first time that this has been done. The first time that I've seen it ever. The Jungle Scion to come through.
We saw the mid Scion in the LCK on the weekend. Scion everywhere seems to be a thing.
Yeah, and actually since the rework, I saw a few games of the old support Scion as well, but they weren't the best solo queue games that I've ever had, so maybe not that one to be the most successful, as Chuffer going to hang around here, just help Soul Strikes out, clearing out this minion wave, but yeah, Soul Strikes definitely making things work for his team.
You know that solo queue tonight, it's going to be plenty of Jungle Scions after this performance.
Oh, don't say it, Papa Smithy, don't say it.
Shakes of heads all around the office.
Oh,
maybe skip out on tonight, guys.
They are going to be able to take down this bottom outer turret here as Direwolves also defending the mid as Minkuel and Choo-Choo's are hanging around. Death Sentence onto Minkuel, the big tree. Death Mark onto Soul Strikes actually, but not sure whether he's going to die from it. Minkuel's going to fall down to the turret, and the face of the mountain keeps Soul Strikes alive. The ultimate to come through here as well onto Legacy, but not going to find anyone as Sharp, just going to die. Soul Strike's very, very low, but King, he has free time here on the top side, and I was wondering what Direwolves were getting out of this one, and they're getting an inner turret in the top lane.
Yeah, they're going to get at minimum an inner turret. An inner turret trade, despite only committing one person to the top, getting more and more solo experience onto King. He's level 11 compared to the level 10 Tallywacker, and now they're trying to pick up exit kills on the bot.
Yeah, On the Hunt has been popped here as well. Nice boomerang across Chuffer to try and deter him, but he's not going to be.
Why would he be deterred? Look what they're buying advantages in the mid lane. They take another inner turret.
Yeah, and King now transitioning to this bottom side of the map with Forever Together. He's going to devastatingly charge into this Legacy lineup. Does find the double fierce. Carbon gets caught out by the Death Sentence. Of course he does. Chuffer is amazing. Ardent Blaze to pick up the kill there as well. Actually, no, it was Forever Together somehow with the Ignite, I believe.
And that was almost the cross-map rotation that everyone dreams of. It was almost inner turrets across the map. Remember, they took the top one, rotated to mid. If they had a minion wave, that would have been all out of inner turrets in one fell swoop.
And they take down the Grump, and they get a couple of kills here at the same time. 7,000 gold lead for Direwolves.
Don't dive the Jungle Scion.
No, not generally a good idea.
Don't dive any Scion. Even the support Scion you're talking about. Don't dive him.
No. Or maybe the support Scion. That's just a bit funny. But Soul Strike's still very, very strong. Almost has that Randuin's completed here as well. I would have liked to see a Frozen Heart instead of that item, but I guess maybe you need to build a little bit more health on the jungle variety, just so that you have a bit there. Of course, not able to rely on your passive as much.
Yeah, your W passive definitely not doing quite as much work. You're not mowing down minions as you are in the top lane. So go for the bit of the more reliable option. The Randuins will provide plenty of work in the front line. Remember, they're against 3 AD auto attackers between Vi, Zed, and Sivir. The Randuins, it's probably the strongest pick because, of course, health scales with the armor. It's all very lovely. It makes everything great.
Oh, yeah. Just sort of fits in synergistically.
It's the Nutella of items.
Not entirely sure what that even means, although I do quite like Nutella.
Fits on a lot of different things.
Oh,
bread, other items, Kruskets.
Oh, I love Kruskets. Let's not talk about that. Unstoppable Onslaught is going to be used by Soul Strikes. Doesn't find on Ejim, who just wanders lazily around him. Minky going to block the death sentence. That is the good guy Minky that we're looking for. Not going to engage onto the big tree, and they save the little Annie.
So Sharp clears a ward. Hecarim's pushing aggressively in top, has a teleport advantage, so strategically overextending Legacy. And King, he's not doing ignorable damage.
Oh, most definitely not, as Minky going to have to Twisted advance his way away from the Direwolves lineup. Ejim does have a stun charged up here, but he's going to get slowed down by Soul Strikes. Death sentence onto the Annie. What is his hit rate with that ability?
That's about 90%.
That is insane. Chuffer is playing out of his mind.
And there's a push in top as well. Legacy, they have to go for this engage.
Another death sentence to land on Tallywacker as well. On the hunt has been popped. Minky still alive as Sharp's going to blow the Zhonya's here as King. He's going to get taken down by Choo Choo's, and it gets into the backside. Still not dead here, but there's the Requiem. Boom. And Choo Choo's is going to die for the easy double kill. Carbon dead as well. Tallywacker and Minky the only ones alive. And Direwolves, they're going to break the base.
And it looks like the dream for Legacy to hit second is all but mathematically dead. The base is in ruins. Inhibitor goes down. They could rotate top during these death timers and get more, but they're not that long. Remember, it's only 22 minutes into the game, and Direwolves have the scaling advantage.
Yeah, and they have a 9,000 gold lead here at the same time. Maybe not the Dragon advantage. Of course, it is alive right now. They're even on those ones, but Direwolves just looking so strong and playing their comp fantastically.
And if all they can hope to do, Legacy, is to compete for the second Dragon, they're not happy.
No, most definitely not, especially not with their Inhibitor down here at the same time. Minky looking to try and clear out this top side of the map. No vision available, as you just saw, for Legacy. Dark Passage is available for some of these Direwolves members, but Chuffer not going to have his lantern taken.
Look, if it is a Direwolves victory, there's so many people arguing for MVP. Soul Strikes bringing out the jungle Scion was Rek'Sai J4 only. Those were the only champions he played. Then casually added Scion to his pool on patch 5.5.
I think he deserves MVP purely for that failed tower dive from Legacy where he managed to pick up a double kill.
Have you been watching Chuffer? This guy doesn't miss death sentences.
Hey, that's a good point too. And he's playing against Ejim as well, which is just ridiculous to talk about that in the same sense because, of course, Ejim's death sentences, his Thresh play just in general has historically just been absolutely wonderful, but Chuffer...
Recall the draft, though. Remember, they took Sivir Annie in the first round of picks, did Legacy. The answering Thresh, you know, his favored Annie taken away. Harken back to his AP carry days. He could play Annie, roam around on a cute little girl, and then taken away from him, brings out the Thresh and hits every hook.
Yeah, just insane. So yeah, I'm a believer, Bubba Smithy. I'm most definitely a believer.
The game's still going, though. We could still see a massive King outplay. We could still see all sorts of things. Direwolves, strategically, they've got a substitute. We might be forgetting that. Perfection's not even the lineup. One of their strongest performers over the season. But everything's business as usual.
Yeah, exactly. And Forever Together still looking incredibly powerful on this Hecarim as well. Now has the Randuin's completed, Ninja Tabi and the Trinity Force. Choo Choo's getting his split push answered here by Forever Together. And you can see, no way that Choo Choo's can stand in the same lane as this horse.
And that's what we were talking about, the split push. They've got Scion and Hecarim. Both of them can stand up. Even Karthus, with his exhaust and now the Zhonya's, can probably do work against the Zed. They're relying on Teamfight Zed. They're not going to win with Teamfight Zed against Karthus, Scion, Hecarim, and King, who's doing loads of damage in the backline.
I just noticed that Chuffer has a 5-1 and 7 scoreline here as well as Forever Together actually forced to use the ultimate to escape. Choo Choo's still demanding a whole lot of respect here on this Zed. Does enter that brush as well, but you have to think the Devastating Charge probably going to be available again, and Forever Together might be able to turn this one around as Direwolves. They're pushing aggressively here on the top side. Remember, the Hecarim has teleport. The Zed doesn't.
Yeah, Zed's already blue paying. Both of them teleporting back to base. The Requiem is still up by Sharp. That's a death sentence miss. I can inform the viewers. Chill out. He did actually hit one on the Annie previously. That's how she was completely DPS'd out of the fight. Direwolves, they want to look aggressively. Forever Together's coming back from base. Isn't going to go for the home guard engage, though. He's already looking to push out some camps.
Yeah, grabbing some Raptors here as well. You can see, look at the vision available for Direwolves, and you have to think that's also Chuffer being incredible, but the rest of the team going to be helping out there as well. As Forever Together does pick up the upgraded warding trinket. I like that one quite a lot. The extra couple of wards there that recharges for you, so does have more warding options available to this Hecarim. Got some green wards here in the back pocket as well. This horse able to get some vision down for his team. And just the vision is insane for
Despite
Direwolves.
breaking the base once, they haven't been able to pick up a Baron necessarily. There's a Baron bait coming through right now. They're going to back away. They have a very fast Baron team. Karthus, just like Cassiopeia, excellent at picking up those neutrals, and they've started it.
Yeah, the start of this Baron, it's not going down necessarily that fast as the horse has been spotted here on the bottom side of the map. Mickey was able to break a teleport, but Legacy, they're not going towards this Baron. Soulstrike's taking a fair bit of damage. The teleport to come through. The teleport in response here from Minkiewell as the Unstoppable Onslaught doesn't find a target. Minkiewell wants to get into the backline. Choo-Choo's, he's discovered Sharp, but he pops the Zhonya's and doesn't actually die from that one. Ejim gets hit by the death sentence. The double kill for Choo-Choo's though. Legacy, a brilliant team fight so far. The shot down onto Soulstrikes. Ejim is going to fall down, but Chuffer, the last man standing, what is going on?
Yeah, Chuffer lived, but they grouped up for AoE, clumped up, and King was the first to die. They got the pick on him despite already using the death mark onto the Karthus, drawing out the Zhonyas, but importantly killing King. Massive flash tip is coming through from Ejim, and this at minimum should be the Baron from Legacy out of nowhere.
How did they manage to do that with such a disadvantage here as well? 4 dead for nothing. And to out AoE a team with Karthus? What the heck?
Karthus does a lot of consistent damage, but just consider the burst and targeted CC Legacy have. A lot of the consistent damage coming through is from King. Died instantly, wasn't able to contribute anything. Sharp was actually low on mana because, of course, he committed to using some of his already half mana pool onto the Baron. We're going to see the replay coming through. So Soulstrikes isn't able to get the engage. They go up the cove. Sharp in the backline uses his Zhonyas. You think he's going to be K, but King dies to the Assault and Battery and Flash Tibbers from Ejim, and that's where the fight just goes completely sideways. Choo-Choo's still full health. The ult just used to dissuade the dive. Chuffer lives, but that's all that Direwolves can take from that fight.
Yeah, and it was about the fact that Tallywacker just able to free hit in the backline as well. They focused down Forever Together, and then nobody else dived on the Sivir, and he was just ricocheting everyone apart. Oh, Choo-Choo's, don't you face check that brush.
He did.
No, he put his shadow in there.
Able to at least not ensure anybody dies. The Dragon's going to be up in 35 seconds. Second Dragon, not a big contest, so Direwolves maybe will be able to see that advantage, especially with minions pushing in the top wave. Need to send someone to answer that. Direwolves, they just need to step back, re-examine the problems. There was low mana bar on Sharp. They did DPS down the Baron very fast. They didn't really commit to it. Sharp looked like he didn't want to use too many, lay waste on that just to keep his mana pool healthy. And they split for so long that by the time they got engaged upon, they just weren't committed to the fight. It was a big win for Legacy. It does swing the pendulum a little bit, but Direwolves still have the advantage.
Yeah, it's 6 turrets to 2 here as well. Sort of the global pressure advantage definitely in Direwolves' camp at 5,000 gold now the lead. Legacy have pulled it back very far by picking up that Baron. Open inhibitor though. Legacy are going to have to answer as Decimating Smash from Soulstrike's not going to find anyone.
Doing good zoning work though.
Yeah, it takes a Dark Passage to get himself to safety at the same time, and Choo-Choo's doing some more Peter Pan impressions in the mid lane with those shadows.
Just need to be careful not to clump up, not allow the Assault and Battery Tibbers engage to either wreck Sharp or King in the backline.
Yeah, Minkiewell lazily walks out of the Decimating Smash. I just find Sion the most hilarious champion.
You're not the only one. He's very fun.
He is amazing. But it is going to be the second Dragon answered here for Legacy. 2 for 2 now. Decent vision around for Direwolves still, you have to think. Got the pink wards hanging around that river, but it wasn't enough in order to get them any pressure on this Dragon, and the Baron buff does need to be respected. But Direwolves looking to just power their way up this mid lane, and can they win a team fight?
In these true 5v5s, the King has a 500 range AD carry with only Thresh available for Peel. Of course, can fight around Karthus AoE as well. He's struggling a little bit. The tank front line from Direwolves is very good, but it's not a dive damage frontline. I mean, decent damage coming through from Hecarim, but just decent for a tank. Obviously, Soul Strike's only really there for the CC. They don't have dive damage, so it's a fight being fought in the frontline where the tanks need to completely zone Tallywacker out. Otherwise, they might have compositional problems in a fight.
Ooh, Chuffer missed a Death Sense again. Lag? I'm not sure. Not sure how that happened. He was been hitting all of them before, but outer turret is going to be collected here for Legacy. That's going to be their third. Outer ring is destroyed for them. Of course, King not exactly having the best game here. He had a brilliant start to the game, but 3, 4, and 8. It seems that Choo-Choo's has been able to destroy this AD carry each time, as now going to be able to take down the inner turret in the bottom side of the map. No Baron is still available here, and that is a massive gold injection from those couple of turrets. 3,000 gold now the lead, and we got a game on our hands, Papa Smithy.
We absolutely have a game. We definitely rode away Legacy's challenge far too early. You can see from Choo-Choo's items what his game plan is. He's actually going for the Black Cleaver rather than Youmuu's Ghostblade. Youmuu's far superior in a split pushing game where you're trying to take down turrets with the split push, but he recognizes not going to split push with Hecarim and Sion on the team. He's focusing more on a team fight build. Of course, the Armor Shred will apply for Tallywacker, increasing Tallywacker's damage. You feel that if Forever Together and Soul Strikes aren't able to zone Tallywacker out of a fight, Sivir still does good late game team fight damage. People kind of pigeonhole her as an early game carry. She has an auto attack reset. If she gets high crit values and armor penetration, can do team fight damage, but she has the same problem as Lucian. She's 500 range. Whichever AD carry is able to get free auto attacks in a fight, that will probably be the signal of a team fight victory.
Yeah, and we just haven't really been seeing this from Legacy, this ability to hold on so fantastically to these games and keep their heads even after they've fallen behind. A lot of their victories here in the OPL have sort of been early snowballs, able to collect themselves and really just capitalize on advantages that they picked up early. But this Legacy is taking it to teams that have massive gold leads against them.
And Direwolf's just a caught between two identities because they've been winning so landslidedly in the first 25 minutes of the game. Now you look at their company, you look at the fact that Karthus, he has a very expensive build. We mentioned that already. Only 2 items complete. Doesn't have the death cap yet. Only sitting on 366 AP. That's a very low AP value. And Legacy going in.
Yeah, actually, he does manage to land the death mark on the King, but the exhaust is there as well. Carbon diving through onto the Lucian. He's no longer part of this fight as Minkiewell going to take down Sharp at the same time. Requiem's going to be there. Tallywacker going to fall down. A triple kill instantly for the Karthus. And now Minkiewell in so much trouble. King didn't even die, ladies and gentlemen. Decimating Smash finds Minkiewell. The horse is there. This is most definitely going to be an inhibitor, but it might also be the game unless Choo-Choo's can pull off a miracle.
366 AP, I didn't think it'd be enough, but a triple kill is huge from Sharp. They always initiate on Karthus, force the Zhonyas early, but that was a big fight. They changed target to King, but between the QSS and the ability for late game Lucian to open up space through his passive and the cooldown reduction mechanic on his Relentless Pursuit, as you mentioned, didn't die, dissuaded Choo-Choo's, forced him out of the fight, and for once the backline worked true as Choo-Choo's could stop a lot of backs.
Yeah, he stops 3 of the backs there as well with the Shuriken, and Direwolves, they have to get back. Baron up in 50 seconds here. They need to definitely get some vision down, but it might be the fact that Legacy could potentially rush this one down. They've got a lot of damage.
Big third purchase coming through. It is the death cap for Karthus, up to 600 AP. Looking down the lineup, no Aegis completed yet by Carbon. That could be massive in the next fight, because if you cannot disengage from Karthus' Death Defy, the consistent damage now coming through from the Defile will be very relevant in the fight.
Yeah, and Tallywacker needs to hold on to his Spell Shield here as well. It's a fantastic tool against that Requiem, but he hasn't been able to have that one up just because there's so much more CC that he needs to be worrying about here. And if he has the opportunity to use it on that Requiem that's trying to pick up some cheeky kills, it could be working out here for this Sivir.
Again, you have to use that. You have to use the Spell Shield against the CC effects. That's the important thing to describe though, Max. You can't hold on to it for damage. That's almost never the case. But as a 500 range AD carry, you don't have the luxury of being able to fight at long distance. You don't have a QSS in this case. No Mikhail's complete. Ejim's going for a complete engage build on the support. This is complete self-sufficiency required for Tallywacker, even as an AD carry who's known to struggle in fights. You feel like Tallywacker is struggling more than King, and that might be the reason why that last fight went towards Direwolf.
And speaking of Direwolves, they are heading towards this top side of the map. There are still super creeps for Legacy to deal with here in the mid lane, but they're fast pushing down here. They've got Tallywhacker as well. That is a lot of wave clear, a lot of damage to turrets. And Carbon can tank it for a while. Minky Whale is going to be alone here on this top side. Everyone going to be backing as 5 members strong heading towards the top side from Direwolves. They do manage to deter the push as the rest of Legacy actually just going to walk. And these teams may actually meet one another. There are multiple members on multiple fronts here as we're going to have incredible amounts of Righteous Glories popped here at the same time. Chuffer doesn't get slowed, but they don't find the targets here as Tallywhacker, he pops the ultimate. There's the box down from Chuffer just to stop the divers. Carbon's going to get slowed down, instantly killed. Chuffer picks that one up as Forever Together right into that backline. Wall of Pain doing some work. Choo Choo's looking to finish off King, but he doesn't die. And they turn it all around. The shutdown now under Sharp, but here's the Requiem. See you later, Tallywhacker. Death sentence, that was so close from Chuffer, and Legacy now on the ropes yet again. Minky Whale and Ejim the only ones alive, and Direwolves have an opportunity to follow the Super Creeps into the base. King falls down. Minky Whale with the hero play wanders out of the base gate as well. Is the Ignite going to be enough? No, it's not. And I think we may have a game continuing.
Yeah, no ranged auto attackers barring Thresh alive. Minky Whale does the impossible, actually keeps this game going for Legacy. The solo act is huge.
Yeah, and Minky Whale, I mean, he's done some incredible things in his time, but that has just single-handedly saved the game for now for Legacy.
Direwolves are going to back away, pick up a dragon. Third dragon, not really a big significant thing in the grand scheme of things. And this is a lot of resources. They're going to have to blue pill. Baron is still up. It's still an objective that Legacy maybe don't know this. They can actually look to contest.
Yeah, and we'll see whether they're going to try and get the vision down on it now. They do have a ward towards the back of the pit, just about to fall down as Ejim, he's going to sweep around the pit. Sharp's going to find the blue buff, might find an Annie as well. As Ejim does put down the ward there. Sharp just going to sweep that one out and clear that one immediately.
It's quite surreal that both these AD carries are completely gated around the 6 seconds of power from Youmuu's Ghostblade. No attack speed, no Zeal items in this game. The only Zeal's on Hecarim, which is a crazy thing to consider. Here's the engage.
Yeah, Sharp actually looking to go down as Carbon. He gets Tibbersed as well. So much focus. The Zhonya's comes through as well. But Carbon, he's going to fall down. Choo Choo's just shadowing his way out. But there are so many members of Direwolves surrounding this guy. And Sharp didn't even fall. Finally, Minky Whale gets it. It seems to be how he picks up these kills. But that is a 2-for-1 trade. And eventually, Direwolves managed to come out ahead as Choo Choo's and Tallywhacker, they want to try and contest this one. Scryingorb going to spot out the Sivir. Half of the health now down on this Baron. Legacy trying to make a hero play. Shuriken's coming over the wall. Legacy going to be able to get over there and get the Wonder Steal. Soul Strikes does have the smite. Oh my goodness, the steal from Choo Choo's! But he gives away his life for it. Legacy with only 2 members with Baron are now going to try and defend their only inhibitor that is available for Direwolves, but it has respawned.
But it has been the solo stories twice. First, the heroic kill onto Lucian, stopping the finish a few minutes ago coming through from Minky Whale. And now a steal against the Smite. Smite wasn't even able to be used. Too much instant DPS, down from 1,000 health for Soul Strikes to be able to pick it up. This game, Legacy find a way to stay in it. Find a way to stay in second place contention. They want this second spot, and they're giving themselves every chance to try and get it.
Yeah, but it's so on the line here as well, and you have to think as this game goes longer and longer, it becomes more and more difficult for Legacy, but that hasn't been how this has played out. And we'll see whether they can continue to keep up this form. Bloodthirster completed from King and for Tallywhacker. That's 4 items on these AD carries. I want to see Tally pick up a Phantom Dancer next. You know, just say, to hell with defensive items. I want to be doing as much damage in this late game as I can.
The crucial factor I might see is, again, the magic resist is the one thing that's been slipping away for Legacy. Still no Aegis. 40 minutes into the game.
Might be coming through now.
It might be completed. There's been a lot of gold being sat on by the Vi. Yes, has the locket. That could be big. But, I mean, there's a Hex Drinker finished into a Maw of Malmortis is also significant. Probably the best single item is the Hex Drinker.
Yeah.
And thus the Maw to deal with the Karthus ultimate. Still going to be doing very relevant damage. Karthus blue pilling now because he's going to pick up the Void stuff. Now a 4-item Karthus. 5-item, of course, with the boots. Karthus versus the Locket. That's going to be the big story.
Yeah, and Soul Strikes now as well. He's got a Warmogs and a Randuin's and a Thornmail with that Cinderhulk providing the 25% extra health. And he's going to have so much health. Yes. Is that almost 5,000?
He's sitting on, let's have a little gander. 4,900.
Yeah, 4,900. That's basically 5,000 health. I'll give it to him. Soul Strike's pretty tanky at the moment on the Jungle Scion. Forever Together also with about 3,500. He is no slouch in the tankiness department with 4 items completed.
Vy's found a flank. They want this engage onto King.
Yeah, there's the On the Hunt coming through as well. Ejim looking for the stun. Sharp falling down incredibly low. Choo Choos takes him out straight up as Chuffer incredibly low now. The dive onto King there in the backside of the map is huge. The double kill coming down as Forever Together going to fall at the same time. Minky Whale has so much attention, but he's going to survive as Choo Choos falling low. There's no Requiem to come down. Sharp's dead for 40 seconds. King survives, but that's a 1 for 2.
Yeah, the Requiem's already been used. It's chunked down the members of Legacy, but Soul Strikes, even with 5,000 health, cannot be the tanky frontline to allow King to keep fighting. He's still full health. The AD carry was largely ignored because he just wasn't doing damage to Minky Whale.
Yeah, and somehow Legacy win another team fight. Of course, having the Baron not available for Direwolves really probably would have helped them out. A couple of members picking that buff up. So
you might wonder why this is happening. As I will return to that point. There's no attack speed. There's no Phantom Dances or static shifts completed. For 6 seconds, these AD carries are doing relevant damage. Then after that, they have no attack speed. There's no consistent damage. There's a reason why all AD carry builds are Infinity Edge into either a static shiv or a Phantom Dancer. We're talking about attack speed and crit, which multiply the damage of pure AD. And unfortunately, they just don't have the consistent damage to get through the tanks.
Yeah, and is it now up to these AD carries to sort of sell these Ghost Blades and pick up maybe that Phantom Dancer, maybe that Static Shiv at this stage of the game?
I feel like it will be such a big jump in power if, for example, Lucian picked up a Phantom Dancer. Look,
He's got one now.
He actually got one, just built it straight up.
Sold his boots.
Sold his boots. Well, you worry about Zed getting on top of him for sure. I don't think that the Death Mark is going to be doing all the damage, but he at least will now do enough damage to start dealing with what Minky Whale is able to put out in terms of tankiness.
Oh, Minky Whale actually flashing onto Sharp here as well. They've discovered him. The Tibbers to come down. Choo Choos picks up the kill on the Karthus. Soul Strikes now finds himself in there as the Death Mark going to be used largely defensively. Minky Whale massive in the front line. You can see Soul Strikes now back alive with that Death Defy, but Minky, he does his job and trades 2 for 1.
Yeah, 2 for 1 with a huge pick, but Forever Together it's not done.
Oh, Choo Choos is in so much trouble. He's getting feared here as well, but now the rest of the cavalry has arrived, and this Zed not going to die. We'll see whether the Direwolves are going to be able to continue any sort of push here, because King is very, very frightening, but man, Legacy pulling out some heroic fights.
Yeah, we thought for sure this game was over. They broke the base early, but Carbon still has ult.
Yeah, he's looking for King. There's the, oh my goodness, Tallywhacker with so much burst damage. Forever Together now doing a bit of work in the backline. Chuffer gets the shutdown onto Choo Choos. Carbon in a lot of trouble as well. The stun gonna save his life for now. Vault Breaker back into the fight, but the double kill for Chuffer. There's Tallywhacker. He's the one with the damage. Don't focus the Tibbers. Oh my goodness, Ejim has a back off cooldown. Chuffer picks up a triple kill, but he is going to die in the end. That was almost the ace, but Sharp, he's alive again.
But remember, they were fighting without a ranged DPS or even their AP mid. They were fighting with basically their 3 tanks for that whole fight. And how many auto attacks did it take Tallywhacker to take anyone down? With no Phantom Dancer, with no Static Shiv, the damage is laughable to these tanks. And it was only the amazing engage holding onto the Assault and Battery, taking down King, already blowing up Sharp, wasn't even able to throw out the ultimate on Karthus. Legacy are finding a way to win these fights, but Direwolves, you think, will finally get their eggs in a roll at some point and win a fight.
Yeah, you have to think, but I'm getting more and more convinced that Legacy are going to be able to take this one off the back of the ridiculous engages coming through from Minky Whale and just how they play out these fights. That being said, on the other side of the rift, Papa Smithy, we have Chuffer sitting on 9-2 and 18 on Thresh.
9-2 and 18. It's just amazing that he's been the one picking up these kills. Legacy with Minky Whale back in the team. It's 2014 all over again. When it gets clutch, they look so, so strong.
It's ridiculous. 30 seconds now up on the Baron. We'll see who's going to be able to take this one down as the 3rd Baron now up for contention. Choo Choos looking to take down this blue buff. And you have to think it's all based on the fact that Legacy have made proactive plays in this late game.
Legacy did not let the fact that the base went down so early, the fact that they were behind against a comp which on paper should outscale them, with a tanky front line, good consistent damage in late game from Lucian, and all the damage coming through from what is still a 5-item Karthus, notably not a 6th-item Karthus just yet. But they're just making plays, as you mentioned. They're always getting the crucial picks. They killed Lucian to give themselves a lifeline. Credit Minkuel for that one. Then they got the next exit kill. After that, the stealing of the Baron coming through by Choo-Choo's was so massive. Dire was so near but so far, but they're trying once again.
Yeah, this inhibitor now under fire as well, as the On the Hunt has been popped. Choo-Choo's does have the home guard boots, but he's not quite back in base yet. Somehow the back was stopped. And he's not even going back now. Direwolf's going to turn their attention to the Baron here, and Choo-Choo's going to continue a split push in this bottom side. Not sure whether it's going to be the best opportunity as Direwolves, they are going to turn this. They have so much engaged potential as the ult is available from Soul Strikes if he wants to try and get something started. The flash descends onto Minkuel as well, but he's so tanky. Base Gate's also available there as he just wanders over, but there is the ultimate from Forever Together. The culling coming down over across this team. Minkuel not even dead yet. Is finally going to fall down to Sharp, and Tallywacker getting bursted down as King forced to flash out of this one. The exhaust onto Tallywacker. He's going to fall. Direwolves now just stomping over Legacy. The tree is rampaging. Sorry, the horse is rampaging through this fight. Choo-Choo's is going to find 2 kills. Both of the carries dead, but only Carbon alive. And this base is not going to be around for long as Direwolves, they're going to close this one out.
This has been a completely insane game, but they finally got it. Hook comes onto Carbon. They don't have a lot of damage to take him down, but with these death timers, they should be able to finish. The Trinity Force procs onto structures will come up massive.
Yeah, Forever Together does have a whole lot of damage. They are focusing on Carbon first. They want to complete the aces. Chuffer lands another death sentence for the ace. And that secures it. Beautiful play coming through from this Thresh. And Direwolves, they clinch a victory in the end.
And who was the true AD carry, the true carry of the bot lane? Because let me tell you, Chuffer with a 10, 2, and 22 kill score to make anyone blush. Wonderful play from him. Those death sentences, a lot of those 22 assists were from the death sentence, but a massive thing came through on that last fight, Atlas. No boot Lucian. Who's going to punish him? It's, of course, going to be the Zed getting into the backline, but Zed wasn't in the fight. Couldn't take advantage of the fact that the Lucian was fairly immovable. And the dive, it just doesn't, it's not the same when it's a Maokai and Vi diving you. The full damage Zed, who can kill you with 3 auto attacks, wasn't present at the fight, and Direwolves won.
Yep, unable to take it down. We do have a replay, ladies and gentlemen, of that last one. This is actually towards the middle of the game, and as we run this out, we'll see exactly what happened.
There were so many seesaw fights. I'm going to be honest,
ridiculous.
I can't even track which of them this is, so we'll roll the tape on this fight. Choo-Choo's able to get onto the backline onto King for once. Previously had been engaging onto Sharp, but the Assault and Battery, they keep King occupied in the battle at the back. The ultimate comes through, the Requiem comes through, gets a lot of damage. The triple kill was a massive win there. So the fight continues all this long. King lived during this fight. So this is the fight that King lived upon. Do they pick up the exit kill on Minkuel? Honestly, I can't remember. It was so long ago at this point. They'll take him down. They finally picked up the inhibitor. You might think, okay, the inhibitor turret was already down, but they picked up an inhibitor so early, and then Legacy had all the momentum, were winning that game until finally they were able to wrestle a team fight win. Finally, King lived during a fight. Previously had been assassinated in the AoE of the Assault and Battery and the Wombo combo from Annie. That was such a short game. That's a preview of hopefully the level of games we'll get moving into playoffs. They're not far away, and that game was wonderful.
Yeah, and speaking of which, let's just have a bit of a recap of what we've experienced thus far, ladies and gentlemen, if I manage to actually get my words out, of course. First up, Legacy getting that victory against Sudden Fear at all odds, and Direwolves again with a more difficult experience than they were expecting against Legacy.
But they crucially keep up their record, only 2 losses to the Chiefs, beating off all the other competitors, and take down Legacy for the 2nd time this season.
Yeah, and actually Sudden Fear on Thursday are going to be taking on both Avant-Garde and the Chiefs for our final games, and this is going to be very, very exciting. See whether Sudden Fear are going to be able to get that spot over Fortnite. And then, of course, we do have games on Monday as well. But ladies and gentlemen, let me just announce for you our semi-finals dates. It is going to be on the 1st and 2nd of April. And it's going to be very, very exciting.
Best
of, course,
of 5, importantly.
Yeah, best of 5 as well. So these are going to be massive. And the likes of Legacy, the likes of the Chiefs, who have had a lot of experience, are going to be okay with it. But
Direwolves as well.
Yeah, some of these other teams, maybe not with as much experience in the best of 5 department. Sure. But we'll see who has the seeding in order to get there. But this is the big one. Ladies and gentlemen, live from our new studio, we're going to have our grand final on the 6th of April, and I cannot wait for this one. It's going to be huge.
Absolutely not. We're going to see some of these teams involved
there.
The
9th, sorry. Just put it upside down. Put it upside down. Not 6.
That's the Oceanic way.
Down under 6.
It's going to be an absolutely massive game. And that's a lot of information to take in, dear viewers. So if you need a little bit more information, if you want to review any of the dates, I've got a website for you. oce.lolesports.com will have all the scheduling information. Again, clarification about the fact that Perfection wasn't playing, the Rich Gang situation, all clarified on that website. And all your information for the schedule, the VODs, everything for OPL, your OPL portal.
Yep, fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, until Thursday, where we're going to have Sudden Fear facing off against both Avant-Garde and the Chiefs. You don't want to miss that one. This is going to be it for us. Thank you very much for watching. On behalf of course, myself, Papa Smithy, Pastry Time, of course, unable to be here today, but he'll be with you on Thursday, and our whole production crew. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on Thursday.